So, it all comes down to this, does it? The season finale of season 2 of Smallville. Season 2 finale of Smallville. Season 2, episode 23. Exodus. This episode was directed by Greg Beeman. And it was very good. Very good. Man, there was a lot of emotions in this. It was a lot of stuff. Just, where do I even start, man? Well, I suppose I should sit down. So, over here we go. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. So, Coneheads is a 1993 film, comedy film. I couldn't even commit to the bit there. I was gonna do something. Anyway. So we pick up where we left off in the last episode. Clark going down to the storm cellar. And the voice of Jor-El, we officially know who it is. I kind of spoiled that last one. But the voice of Jor-El telling Clark that his destiny needs to happen and he can't avoid it and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. So in this episode, Clark and Lana are officially a couple, kind of. I say kind of because by the end of this episode, it's I've already made my piece about the Clark and Lana relationship in this show, that they do too much will, they won't. They are finally together. Let them be happy. No, can't do that. Can't let them be happy. Can't do that. And some stupid. So they, there is this scene that is just, it's a great scene where they're like having a picnic or something, and Clark is holding Lana in his arms, and it's like, this is what you wanted for 2 fucking seasons. This is what we wanted to see, and they're together finally, and like, so we make it official, right? And Lana says yes as soon as we tell Chloe. Oh, he says you're my. I don't have to ask you to be my date for the. Actually, that's later. It's at this point he's like, I don't have to ask you to be my date for Lex's wedding, and he's like, no. She's like, as long as you tell Chloe. But by the time the wedding starts, he still hasn't told Chloe. As long as we tell Chloe, and he says, well, I'll do it. And then, so what Lana should have done later when Chloe talked to her, because she's in there looking at her dress, and Chloe walks in, and it's like, Clark will be impressed or something, and she turns around, she should have been like, yeah, I mean, he is my boyfriend, after all. Because at this point, she should have thought, it feels like if they actually pushed this the way that it should have been handled, at least in TV show way, there would have been more in the episode than it needed. So, because she should have run and goes, well, yeah, he is my boyfriend or something like that. And then Chloe would get mad. And then that's when she realizes that Clark didn't tell her yet. But instead, she's like, hey, Clark talked to you yet? She doesn't really press it to Clark, though. There's no other conversation after this to Clark. Why haven't you told Chloe? Everything seems to happen in like a session, right? Clark goes down to the caves. He finds out that Lionel's made a kryptonite version of the key that he's going to use on the wall, which I would like to see how that key would have worked in the wall, what the effect it has on the ship. We find out later. But yeah, so Lex's wedding is coming together, but not without a hiccup, because he tells Helen that he stole the vial of blood, and she leaves him. And the one thing I have a problem with is that Lex, Clark knows about this. Clark comes to talk to him. He tells him, whatever, about what happened. He said he canceled the tuxedo fittings, even though later Lana presents him with his tuxedo. He didn't get fitted for it. How's he have a tuxedo? I just thought of that. Just popped in my head. Because he's like, oh, I cancel it, right? And up to the point, they have yet to cancel this wedding, right? Like, there's like minutes to spare and Helen shows up. And then Clark is at the barn trying to make his decision. Lana shows up and she gives him his tuxedo. And I'm just like, everybody keeps asking, why aren't you dressed that? Why aren't you dressed that? And I'm sitting there going, he doesn't have a tuxedo. But then Lana hands him his tuxedo. I'm like, no, he never got fitted for it. I just thought of this now. He never got fitted for it. Okay, so I wasn't saying, I did just think about that now, but I wasn't saying it, but in the back of my head right now, that's what I'm thinking. He doesn't have a tuxedo. I didn't think of it then. But it's just like, very weird. It's funny. You think of the logistics of that. Helen didn't show up till minutes before the wedding. Lex did not cancel. Everybody is showing up. If Helen did not have a change of heart, there's more with that. There's another reason why she did it, but a change of heart. They just be sitting there going. I do like that Lex is waiting up to the bit for Clark to show up, but eventually doesn't happen. Clark's plan is to get the kryptonite key and put it in the ship. Going back to when Tina Greer had him locked in the cellar with Lana's necklace on back in Visage. But doesn't happen. But going back to that, Clark says that maybe the ship wasn't protecting him, it was protecting itself. If kryptonite is linked to him, maybe it's the ship. Right? So, Clark enlists Pete to get the key. He walks into where Luther is and he's like, damn, who's that? No, he's like, hey, Luther! And he big old distraction, and Clark finally just kind of zooms in. I find this, okay, so this is kind of weird. So, Luther notices that Lionel notices the key is gone, and immediately, yells at Pete, has him searched and everything. And then later, Pete shows up at the school to talk to Clark when Clark is looking for something. We'll talk about it later. And I just thought of this now. Lionel let him go. And Lionel does nothing after this. He just, no, it's gone, and doesn't come after Clark. Doesn't explore this further. I don't even remember if there's any more into it in season 3. Probably not. He just doesn't. Nothing. He just searches Pete, and then Pete gets let go, apparently. But I do like Pete gets dragged into these schemes. So, there is so much that happens here, right? Oh my God. There's so much that happens just on the way to doing this. So, he goes back with the key, and he tells his parents he's going to be, No, they're already there, I think, because he tells them before, because he's standing there with the necklace, and that's what makes the decision. He tells Pete what he's going to do. So at this point, Pete's gone. He's not being held by Luther, but he's not involved in the plot anymore until later. Chloe then shows up and admits that she knows about him and Lana being together, which she saw them kissing in a scene where I threw the fidget spinner at the tin. And again, shut the fuck up, Chloe. I don't care. I'm done. I am done with this. I'm done. I'm so done with this love triangle. Let it go away, please. Go away, please. Please? Please go away. Just go, please. And then Lana shows up, I think. And then he goes to the storm cellar. he decides to break the case. I thought about this too. If he opened it and got it out, then it would hurt more. But he's like this, and then puts it in the ship. But unfortunately, Mr. and Mrs. Kent, Lana arrives at. I think it goes Lana, then Chloe, because Lana talks to him. He has this look. This scene. Let me talk about this scene quick. No, this is not the scene. This scene, though, when they, he's got this look in his eyes like he might never see her again. Because he doesn't know if this is going to work. For all intents and purposes, that explosion had kryptonite in it. It should have killed him too, but whatever. Nitpicks. Anyway. So, then Chloe shows up and confronts him, and she's pissed, and she drives off. But he has no time to talk about this. So he runs, he puts it in the ship. The ship explodes. And at the same time, Mr. and Mrs. Kent are on their way back because Lana showed up without Clark. And Lana says, well, Clark said he had something important to do. And basically, they can't say not to wait for Clark, just get married. This is important, so I'll mention this. Jonathan does give Lex a compass as a gift. It's a Kent family tradition. His father gave one to him to help him find his way down the aisle. So, yeah. Yeah. So, here we go. The ship blows up, they're on their way there, and it knocks the truck over. Oh, yes, caused a crash. The whole thing explodes, and this thing's like a bomb went off, as Lana explains later. The whole thing is gone. The ship's exploded, everything. Clark wakes up, and he's all tattered like he was the Incredible Hulk or something. He sees the truck, and he runs over and then takes him to the hospital. All right, so Clark's talking to Jonathan in a scene that, honestly, John Schneider is just fantastic in this scene with Clark. He's just all the emotion. He's like, what did you do? And he basically he tells him what he did, and he's like, didn't I teach you there are consequences to your actions? He goes, yeah, I know, but I just, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you didn't think about what the consequences would be, and now... Okay, now, I have a problem with the line delivery here. The doctor comes out, and she goes, how is she? How is my wife? He goes, she's stable, she's in good condition. And then he says, and how was our baby? He's like, what? And how is the baby? How is our baby? And the baby? But how is our baby? She lost the baby. Now, I didn't have much to say about this miracle baby. Because honestly, you could have taken this baby thing out of this season, out of the baby story, out of this whole thing, and it would have amounted to not much changes. Not much change. The only people that knew about it were the Kent family and Pete. And honestly, I don't even remember when they told Pete, but he knew about it because he talks to Clark about it later. There was no reason for it. It doesn't do anything. And like I said, I rented these from the library out of order. So I'd already seen some episodes of season 3 before season 2. And I remember seeing the baby thing and being like, baby? They don't have a baby. What? Yeah, I don't know why they introduced this plot point with the baby if they were just gonna not... I don't understand. I understand it is supposed to bring, like, distress to Clark so that he ends up doing what he does, but it's just... I don't get it. It doesn't add anything else only to the end of the season. That's it. And when you put something in halfway through the season that only culminates in something that's not even the birth of the child. Martha never even started showing before the baby was unceremoniously killed off in the womb. I don't know, it's always frustrated me why they made that decision. It doesn't do anything. What was the point of having the ship give her the ability to get pregnant again if they weren't going to do anything? And who's to know if maybe she could get pregnant again? Why not try it? Nothing. There's no. So Clark sees this and he comes to a decision. This happens. Chloe's mad at him, and he goes back to where the explosion is, and Lana shows up, and he doesn't really explain what's going on. He's just like, she's like, what happened? It's like a bomb exploded. And he just says plain to her face, I can't tell you. I'm like, really? That's what we're going with? Okay. And she just sort of accepts it, and he's like, there's something I have to do, and basically, and then he, So he runs off to the school. He's digging through Chloe's stuff, and he's trying to find, Pete runs in, he's like, damn, who's that? No, he's like, Pete. He's like, Pete. He doesn't say Pete. He says, Clark, I just talked with your parents. I know your mom lost a baby, and that's why I'm like, wait, when did you know about that? I don't remember that. Unless he told you, I guess. I don't remember. But, and he's like, what are you doing? I'm looking. I know Chloe has one of those red kryptonite rings. He's like, you're not yourself. Exactly what I don't want to be right now, basically. And so he finds it, right? It's in a little case, little thing. So, we now cut between two different things here. Lex and Helen have married. They're getting into the plane, the Corp jet, whatever. They get ready to go in, and the guy says, "There's been a power outage. Something happened, whatever." And then they get in, and there's a blooper. No, it's just a regular scene where Lex walks out and sits down, and he has a toast with Helen. But in the blooper, he comes out all like Austin Powers, and he comes out and he sits down and he goes, like throws over his coat, goes, and then he's like, and he says, "Let's fuck," but it's bleeped out, but you can tell that's what he's wording. Let's fuck. It's a blooper. It's a funny blooper. I've seen the season 2 and 3 bloopers. I watched season 2 bloopers on YouTube. I could just watch it on a disc, but it's on YouTube. And it's funny as hell. I'll watch the season 3 ones once I get to that. But, yeah. So it goes between this and the Clark stuff. But Clark goes back to the farm. He's got the motorcycle that they still have and we haven't seen since Red. And he's got his leather jacket. And Lana is there. And this scene cemented how good this episode was. Because it was just, oh my God. As much as you can complain about the will they, won't they, and the Lana basic stories, Lana-centric stories, this scene, it gets you. He says he's got to go, he's got to leave, he's got to do something. You can't stay here anymore. He's, all that stuff. And then Lana says, Clark, I love you. And it hit me in the moment. I went, oh, and I teared up. I don't know why, but it got me. He's like, I love you too, but I have to do this. And then he takes the ring out of his pants pocket. And I went, wait, no, he should already be infected, lest we forget that Pete infected him with kryptonite by putting a piece in the pocket. And you cannot tell me, oh, well, because of the ring, it's in the ring. But there's still a piece of the rock sticking out. It would still work that way. It doesn't make any sense. He's not infected, but he puts it on. He turns around and he goes, come with me. And she goes, no, my home is in Smallville. Which is kind of lame, but he takes off. And And then we cut back to Lex, who wakes up in his plane with no one else there. And it's crashing into the sea. And we crash, and it cuts back to Clark driving away into the distance. And Jor-El says, "You will come to me, Kal-El. You will come to me." And then end. 4.5 Superman logos out of 5. It's not as good. It's not as good as Rosetta, but it's damn close. This was so well done. And being in it, I noticed in the credits it was a Greg Beeman episode. At the beginning it says, directed by Greg Beeman. I am not surprised. Most of his episodes are good. This was great. It just doesn't... Rosetta is still the best episode of the season for me. So I can't go back. I can't give this the same score and say that it's just as good because that's the best episode. So it's just about there. But it is... And I have my issues with the baby thing. And that he and Lana are fighting together. But when you accept the fact that they're not actually endgame, no, one day is kind of moot. But this does work. As much as you want to see them together, and that scene I mentioned where he's holding her in his arms, it got me. I'm just like, this is what should happen, Every man wants to hold every guy wants to hold the girl of his dreams in his arms, right? It's that moment. It's all he ever wanted. It's all you ever want. Just to hold her in your arms. And hope it'll never go away. And trust me, I've had that moment. And I let it slip away. Too many times. And now it's gone. I'll never have that again. And I can hope and I can pray that one day I will find the one I'm meant to be with, but I'm afraid I already found her and I let her go and it's gone its course. But at least there is a silver lining in that. That's something good out of it. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this episode? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.